This is Flat Earth Math, otherwise known as Charles. In a response video to Rachie, he's talking about specular reflections and how, in his opinion, they prove the globe. It's a side point for this video, but he inadvertently proves that the Earth cannot be a sphere because we cannot get the reflections that we see in real life reproduced in the small scale. Oh, but it's because flat earthers don't understand scale, I hear you cry. Well, actually, if you try doing this yourself, no matter what the scale, you'll never get it because the angles are the issue, not the scale. Let's have a listen to what Flat Earth Math says, and then we'll demonstrate how incorrect he is by looking at a couple of comments in my thread, and we'll then look at the real world evidence that you can reproduce yourself with a globe and a little LED flashlight. You can debunk the globe in your kitchen. Let's see what Flat Earth Math says.
This is for Rachie. We have a ball with the specular highlight on the top and a light source. Now if we go over the ball, we see that the ball is about 31, 32. The top of the ball is about 32 inches tall. The light source is about 14 inches tall. It's kind of hard to see, but basically, clearly, the light source is near the ground, and the ball is up on a chair. So, the point is that if the camera is above the shiny object, it is going to have the specular light on the top. Now, if I come down below, the shininess will be on the bottom. Bye-bye.
So let's set this freeze frame and we'll just consider what we can see. He hasn't got the right angle at this point because from this observer's position, obviously he's not on the Earth, he's not looking, the sun's not close to the Earth's horizon. He has to get a little bit lower to demonstrate the point. But I've done that for him, and I'm going to show you now how this is not possible on a sphere. Remember, we do see these, I don't know what the phrase to call these lights are, but these lights that light up, the reflections that line up in like a pillar, we do have these real world, but it's not reproducible. Obviously, I then put a community post for Charles to see because this is a delicious own goal by Charles. He basically debunks the globe. Charles is trying to show Rachie a point about specular reflections, but inadvertently debunks sunsets on a globe. In real life, Charles, we do get reflections of the sunlight leading up to the horizon as well as the specular reflection at the top of the horizon during a sunset. Charles fails to get the reflection leading up to the horizon because everything leading up to the horizon is behind the curve from the perspective of the sun and the light that's coming from it. We are not at the tangential point, are we? The tangential point is some distance in the front of us, so everything leading up to that horizon point isn't getting any sunlight, is it? He doesn't understand what he's demonstrating debunks the sunset on a globe Earth. Head over and watch this video and let him know how we debunk sunsets on a globe Earth. Thanks, Charles. So let's have a little look at what happens when I get some comments on this community post. So here we have a response from Automatic Parsnip, an account that was created in January of this year and for all intensive purposes should be completely ignored, but for the purposes of this video, his point is to be demonstrated to show how stupid the globe argument is when it comes to specular reflections. He says, oh dear, Sleepy fails again with a simple triangle. Here is the image he presents, in which he puts a really fetching image of myself, superimposed on top of Rachie 50's figure, and then demonstrates with a triangle how the apex of the Earth can be seen by the observer. Nobody disputes that. We do have specular reflections. But in real world, when we see the leading up to the horizon pillar of reflection, that needs to be represented, doesn't it? So here it is with my version of the wobbly lights and bendy lights and all sorts of nonsense that goes through their model, trying to show how the light needs to bend onto the blind side of the Earth from the sun's perspective and then bounce up into the eye of the observer. This is not possible unless you redefine the term light and you get it to do basically whatever you want it to do for your model. But try it at home, guys. It doesn't work. As you can see, Not Flat says in his comment, pillar reflection demonstrated on a ball. So I thought, let's have a look at this and see if he replicates that which we see, a sunset. Let's see if we can spot how disingenuous this pillar reflection demonstrated on a ball video is. Let's go. So here we go. This looks like a credible attempt at trying to recreate a distant sun on top of a ball. He's got some wrinkled aluminium foil to represent waves, but can we see the problem that he does with this representation here? We're supposed to be observing the pillar reflections of a setting sun. Well, where's the sun? He's creating the angle here by not putting the sun at the horizon. He's got the sun above the horizon, so he's got the angle that's necessary to create the pillar of reflections. He needs the sun at the horizon, because that's where we need to... You can't do this unless the sun's close to the horizon, because this is creating the angle. So this is misrepresenting the ball Earth claim, because he's not got the sun anywhere near the horizon. It's not even in frame. Yet in real world, we see this every time there's a decent sunset, so this is not possible on a ball. His sun was not in the shot. That sun is clearly in the shot, very close to the horizon. How dishonest. I did this a few years ago to test this claim because I wanted to see whether or not I could reproduce it, because I realised it was to do with the angle, not to do with the scale. And essentially what that guy's just done in that video is this. He's created the angle by basically being above the surface enough and having the sun basically above the horizon enough so that he can get the angle. But if you do it properly and you get yourself nice down up to the horizon, to represent being on Earth, to represent the horizon being a geometric horizon of a sphere, you realise quickly that you are in the shade of the sun. You should be in the cast shadow of the sun because the Earth's blocking the light. So anything that's created, anything that's being beamed out from the sun, that's coming into your eye, anything behind the horizon from the sun's perspective, it isn't going to be able to create reflections. It's blatantly obvious if you're honest. But as always with being a blurfer, you've got to lie to be a blurfer. You've got to lie to be on a ball, haven't you? Because in real world, the horizon is the only place where you get a specular highlight. You can't get this pillar of sunlight. Ball Earth debunked by Charles. Thanks, Charles.
Bye-bye.